Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rod Talks Games, and today we are talking about games that I feel like overstayed their welcome. So, what do I mean by games that overstayed their welcome? So, there are a couple things I mean by this. First of all, this does not mean that these are bad video games necessarily. In fact, I like all four of the games we're going to be talking about. Do I love them? I don't think I love any of the four of them, and there may be some hot takes in this video, but you know what? That's fine. But what I actually mean by overstaying their welcome is it's like I felt like when I was playing them, they were never gonna end. So, for example, when you think you're finished with the game, it's like, oh, wait, here's a whole other section of the game that you have to do before you beat the game. And I want to say that soured the experience for me on a lot of these, or just maybe I was so tired of them by the time I finished up that it just left a bad taste in my mouth for one reason or another. So let's jump right into this list with Super Mario 3D World. So I didn't beat this game on the Nintendo Wii. I had a sticker on my hat. Look at this. Look at this. Adjustable. Unlike this list, but I'm not adjusting. Anyways, Squirtle. So this game, like, I didn't beat it on the Wii U. I played some of it on the Wii U, but I didn't beat it until it was on the Nintendo Switch. When I played through it on the Nintendo Switch, I started the game, and I would say I played most of it. I'm talking Bowser's Castle area. I was like, okay, well, I think I'm about done with the game. I'm not really feeling it. I want to take a break. So I took a break for a bit. Came back to it and thought I beat the game. Like, nope, you didn't. Here's a bunch more levels. And it's just, oh. At that point, it was such a drag that, you just had to continue playing once again. And I know, like, I'm not really elaborating too much, I guess, but it's just the fact that I wasn't a big fan of the game to begin with. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong. It's 3D Mario. But, like, when you're comparing it to games like Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Galaxy, or Super Mario Odyssey, which, I had played not too long before that because, it had released a couple years prior, and then you go into play 3D World. This is not nearly as good of a game as these others. And, when you think you're at the end and you're kind of tired of it anyway, and then you find out you got a bunch more levels and a bunch more stuff to do, it's a little disheartening. So, yeah, that game definitely is on this list for me. And again, there's nothing particularly wrong with the game. It's fine. But yeah. Okay, so I want to start with on the next one for the PlayStation 4. We got Kingdom Hearts. I know the glares are only working. We got Kingdom Hearts 3 here. This is probably my least favorite of the games that I'm going to talk about today. Maybe. There's another one here I want to talk about that I still, 2 years out of beating it, don't know how I feel about it. But this game, guys, first of all, it doesn't help that, like, this game was very disappointing for me. Like, I was super, super hyped up about Kingdom Hearts 3. I loved Kingdom Hearts. I loved Kingdom Hearts 2. The spinoffs, not the spinoffs, I guess, but the other games, like Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, I could take those or leave them. But, the first two were very special games for me, and then I was ready for Kingdom Hearts 3 to be, like, the definitive, like, ending to the trilogy. And, it was just... It overstayed its welcome in different ways than some of the games on this list. First of all, the worlds. There were much fewer worlds. In Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, you had a lot of Disney worlds in each of those games. And each of them was, it was just the right length. They never went on too long. It seemed like just the right amount of time to play their story, especially in the first one, when you're playing the story of the movies. You're playing Aladdin, you're playing The Little Mermaid, this and that. And, the second one kind of expanded on that. It was fine. But the third one, you cut down the number of worlds and you make each world longer. And at that point, I would say, with the exception of Toy Story, and maybe the exception of Tangled, these worlds got real boring real quick. So, like, each individual area is outstaying its welcome because not only are they longer, but, like, the IP, in my opinion, that were represented in the Kingdom Hearts 3, like, they weren't necessarily as good as previous Kingdom Hearts games. Like, I'm not a Frozen fan really. Big Hero 6 was there too, yeah, but that world was like, it was fine. It wasn't anything fantastic. And even like when I cite Tangled and Toy Story, like Toy Story was easily the best part of the game for me. Um, and yeah, Monsters Inc. was there too, and it's not even memorable. So, really, truthfully, by the time we got to the end game portion of Kingdom Hearts 3, like I just wanted this to be over. I was so disappointed in the game that it had soured my view. I don't want to say on the series, but like the game as a whole. It's like you have multiple parts that are just monotonous, that make the whole game feel just meh at the end. Okay, so next we have this is a newer one. I've got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD on this, and I'm specifically going to talk about Dragon Quest 1 because I have not yet played Dragon Quest 2. I'm holding off because 7 comes out in about 2 weeks, and I'm going to be jumping right in on that. So this is an interesting one. And again, this is one that for different reasons outstayed its welcome. First of all, it is so grindy. This is probably the most grindy game I've ever played. I just felt like I'm constantly having to level and level and level and level. And sure, you can get around that. You can turn on the easy mode where you can't die, but that why bother? That just kind of ruins the whole point of playing the game at that point. There's no challenge. Um, so instead, I would grind, and I felt like the last couple 2-3 hours of the game was just endless fetch quests. Go do this, go get this, go get this, go get this, and I was just, oh, you think you're gonna go challenge the final boss, but no, you need to get these 3 items first. Oh, and then you need to get these 2 things, and then you need to collect all these and come back here and unlock abilities with them. And it's like, just let me finish the story. At this point, like the story's not necessarily anything spectacular to begin with, and I'm already tired of grinding. And then instead, you're going to send me on fetch quests with very difficult bosses that are HP sponges, mind you. These bosses have a ton of HP, and you're by yourself. You're the only character in your party, and I don't know. Like, I didn't dislike the game by any means. Like I said, I like every game that I'm talking about today. And this isn't even the one that I was talking about that I thought that I was going to, maybe like less than Kingdom Hearts 3. Which I do, I guess, like Kingdom Hearts 3 more than I like Dragon Quest 1. And fortunately, I've heard enough good things about Dragon Quest 2 that it's supposed to be a lot better than the first Dragon Quest game, especially as far as the remake. Well, at least as far as the remake is concerned. I guess the original's been a slog. But the remake of Dragon Quest 2 apparently is pretty great. So I am going to go back to that, but I'm just hoping it's not going to be like as much of a grind fest, although I'm sure it will be. And I'm also hoping that it's not going to be just fetch quest after fetch quest, dragging out the end of the game just to pad it out, because I'm not a fan of that. Okay, this game is divisive that I want to talk about for my final game. Some people love this game, some people hate this game. I'm kind of in the middle ground where I like it. But I can think of, like, if I were to rank this game as a ranking of the series, which maybe I will do someday, this is by no means in the top part of the listing. In fact, I'd probably put it towards the middle of the pack. There are several games that I would replay over this. I don't even know that I'd replay this, and I'm going to catch some crap from, I know, at least Justin, who loves this game. But you know what? It's too serious for its own good. It's too long for its own good, and the combat just doesn't feel like I wanted it to. It just felt like, we're just gonna. We have Final Fantasy 16. Again, nothing wrong with this game. I don't know which I like better between Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 16. And yes, it's better than Dragon Quest 1. But this game, in my opinion, is just kind of, it's too long, first of all. For what it is, for like an action game, because let's get this straight, this is not a traditional RPG. The combat is action-based. The story is fine. I don't think the story is anything spectacular. Clive, I like as a character. I didn't love as a character. He's probably one of the better main protagonists, I guess. Like, he's in the top half. But, with this game, I don't know what it is. I just felt like it was never going to end. I've probably played 40 hours this game before I finished it. Now, I don't want to like be completely negative on this. Like, I want to say like the summon battles, which I think they were called icons. I'm looking at the back of the case here. I think it'll tell me. Yeah, icons. The icon battles in Final Fantasy 16, those were like amazing top tier set pieces in gaming. Period. Like, they were amazing spectacle, but I feel like they were wasted on a game that wasn't as good as it should have been. And you know, it's like I said, I think that for me it was the story that I just felt kept dragging. Um, and I'm not going to go into spoilers. This is still you know, I don't want to say it's a fairly new game. This has been out since 2022, I believe. But you know, it's just I don't know what it is. Like, I was so tired of this game by the time I finished it. Like, I think I played a marathon of several hours the last couple of days that I was playing it, just so I can get it, you know, off of my what I'm currently playing and get it back on the shelf or something. You know, it's just, I don't know. It's weird. I didn't even play the DLC, so I was kind of tired of the game. So that's kind of is what it is. So anyways, guys, what are some games that you felt outstayed their welcome? What games did you think were just too long for their own good? Maybe didn't need to be as long as they were, or, you know, for other reasons, like maybe they just turned into a grind fest or things like that. You know, other reasons I cited for some of these games that you felt just went on too long. And I will probably do another one of these videos at some point if this one does well. I've got a couple of other like 2D platformers in mind, some older games that I want to talk about maybe. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyways, you will find the link to our Discord in the description below. So be sure to join our Discord. Check us out there. We are a growing community, which has found a lot of activity here recently. So I'd love to see you guys in there. And also, as always, you can click one of these two spots. I know I'm kind of off center in this video, so we're just gonna whoop, whoop. We've got a subscribe button and we have a watch this video button, which will link you to one of my previous videos. So check that out. Please subscribe if you've not already. Like the video, leave me a comment about what games you felt outstayed that are welcome. And until next time, everybody, we'll see ya.